Hey guys, welcome to Narrative Labs. And today I am with Giuseppe Baidu, who is the
Yeah,
founder of Gusto Snacks. Giuseppe, thank you so much for making time. I know it's a busy period just before the holidays, so I'm really grateful to you for being here.
indeed. Thank you for having me.
You're very, very welcome. So let's dive straight into it. Let's talk about your background a little bit first. I know that you lived in Italy and then you
Yeah.
moved to the UK. So can you tell me a little bit about that transition?
Yeah, so I was born in Italy and basically lived there all my life. And in Italy, I was pretty much studying and playing basketball at that time, so semi-professional basketball. And the idea for me was to just keep playing that really because, I loved it. And hey, I was good in playing basketball, so why not? And and then around 2012, obviously, the economic crisis hit Italy, and it wasn't going as much as I wanted. So my parents were like, "Why don't you go to the UK and perhaps study there as well and continue your career?" So I decided to just say, "Okay, let me just go to a different country." Although at 20 years old, actually 21 years old, I wasn't, I didn't really know what I was to expect in the UK. Completely different country. Coming here alone by myself was crazy. So, but I said, let me just try. So when I came here, I wanted to keep playing, but basketball in the UK was just a flop. It was not as, Italy. So I said, okay, let me just, try and find it something else to do. And I said, I'll continue studying really. And I just went back to uni. And that is when, with universities and studies, I just got into entrepreneurship as well.
Fantastic. And you know what I find really interesting about what you've just said is that you were not afraid to pivot. Because I think some people get so stuck on thinking of themselves in a certain way, like, oh, I'm a basketball player, I'm good at basketball, and they may not have been able to make the shift. So, what
Yeah.
advice would you give to somebody who is like in one thing, maybe wants to explore other, areas, but is scared of, doing that because people just see them in that one way and they don't know how to
Mhm.
make that shift?
Yeah, so I remember there was an advice my coach used to give me always: don't put your eggs in one basket. Although you are good in something, and you just expect it to go that way forever. Unfortunately, life, you just can't control it as much as you want. So I think it's always good to have different skills. As in any field you are, you never expect whatever, is coming at you. So it's always good to, explore other fields as well. And I think we are always comfortable where we are in terms of the comfort zone is always nice to be there, but hey, exploring other stuff and being able to do other things as well is good. It's good for us, and it opens different doors as well. So I would say always try. If you be the best as that you can in whatever you are doing, but at the same time also, don't just feel comfortable in the, because at the end the growth comes in doing other stuff as well. So just try and push yourself and go also for other things, and explore really.
I love that. I'm inspired now. I'm thinking of all the other things that I haven't done that I need to do, need to get on my to-do list. Okay, so interesting. Let's talk about, Gusto snacks. And we've spoken before, because I came across your video on TikTok, and we're going to talk about that going viral on TikTok and LinkedIn, marketing, all of that. But let's
Yeah,
start from the beginning of Gusto Snacks, which is a sustainable, I guess it's like a snack made from fruits.
yeah, yeah.
How did you get the idea for Gusto Snacks, and what made you sort of believe that, oh wow, this is an idea that can be profitable and that you can, take to market very well?
So going back to Italy, when I was in Italy, I did my national service. So I had to choose between going to military or going to working with charities. I choose going to work with charities because nobody wants to go to war. But hey, one thing I did
Yeah.
was that during my work with charities, we used to go around in supermarkets and picking up stuff like produce that unfortunately supermarket couldn't sell, and we were preventing them from going to waste. So taking it and giving it to family in need. So when we're doing that, that gave me actually, that really opened my eyes to see how much actually food never really gets into our plates, because these supermarkets, if nobody goes and pick it up, they chuck it in the bin. So from there, I was really inspired, and since in Italy, I wanted to do something for our society, really for the planet. Although I didn't know what. So when I came to the UK and I was in college, actually, I was doing a project, and I studied product design. My background is in product design, so I did a presentation and research a little bit about the issue of food waste. And during my last year presentation, someone walked in and they saw the design and notes that I just presented it as much as I could, because obviously this wasn't a real project, it's just an idea. But I presented it so well that whoever came in there saw the vision, and the person was like, "Hey, I really love this thing about food waste, saving fruits from going to waste and turning them into drinks initially." And then it's like, let's just try. I want you to, join me and we do it together. And this person was an entrepreneur already. He had a tech company, so he just really wanted to, take me under his wings and really teach me how to do stuff. So that is where we started it, and unfortunately, the drink business was crazy. Was my first time doing business. It didn't go as much as we
Is
planned.
this ooze drinks?
Ooze drinks, exactly. This is ooze drinks.
I've been on your LinkedIn. Yes, I saw that.
Exactly. And it did. I was going on with ooze drinks for about 3 years, 4 years. It didn't go as much as I planned. And again, it hits me crazy because that was my first business, was my first baby. I loved it so much. I thought, hey, I'll be a millionaire with this business. So my head was just in this. And
I
unfortunately,
understand.
it didn't go as much as I planned. And I would say that was the lowest point of my life. I'm not gonna lie. I really, really hit me hard. But then, at some point, I remember, my family around me, and especially my sister, was like, "Hey, listen, man, this is not the end of, of your journey. There is so many other stuff you can do here and there." And I said, okay, I failed in this, but one thing I haven't failed in is that I've got so much experience from this journey. So how best can I use, my experience in doing something else? So I said, okay, what were the mistakes I was doing before? What is the thing that I can do differently? And one thing that I thought that was a problem with ooze drinks was that the shelf life was not long enough of the product. It lasted only 3 months, and that was smoothies. So, the product was difficult to preserve. So I decided, okay, why not switch to dried fruits and try again? So I still had the contact of farmers who I was working with to save their fruits and turning them into drinks. So I just went back there and said, look, I want to try again, but this time I'm gonna do dried fruit snacks. And then that is how Gusto Snacks really started, and here we are.
I love that it's a story of like almost like redemption, because you tried one the drinks and then that didn't work out, but you picked yourself back up. And I feel like I'm seeing a pattern here of you picking yourself up, from basketball, university, and now from the drinks to the snacks. So I feel like, one of the main takeaways from you as a person is just to be optimistic and
Yeah,
to keep pushing forward. I think if somebody may have just given up after the drinks didn't work out and think, oh wow, that didn't work, maybe entrepreneurship isn't really for me, but you
exactly.
were able to pivot again into something else. And I think that's really, really
Yeah.
inspirational for people
Mm-hmm.
to see that, it's not always your first business that is going to be that runaway
Hundred
success
percent.
or make you a million, 100 million, a
Hundred
billion
percent.
dollars. You may have to try a couple of things, right, in order
Yeah,
to
indeed,
get there.
indeed, indeed, and definitely basketball did shaped my mindset as well in terms of being a sport person. It was so good to me because you know, in sports as well, you're gonna fail multiple times, but you still have to keep on
Yes.
going. And you know, being an entrepreneur, every time someone asks me, "Oh, I want to be an entrepreneur. Should I just, you know, leave my job and go and do this, go and do that?" I would say, look, this is the thing. Being an entrepreneur is not easy. It's a roller coaster. Like, you have to literally endure sometimes, you know, the craziness that comes with it, but it's so much rewarding. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, prepare yourself, your mindset for the journey, because it's not easy. But again, when you love doing, you know, you have passion in whatever you are doing, definitely you can really, you know, bounce back anytime, really.
I love it. I love it. And let's talk about race in terms of being an entrepreneur of color in the UK, because I
Yeah.
know that I've heard that, you know, I'm British as well, British Nigerian, and I know that sometimes that can be some people can see it as a barrier, but some people don't. They
Mhm.
see it as more of an opportunity because there are certain grants and loans and things targeted towards you know, people of color and people from Asia and other countries. So how have you tackled that, you know, being in the UK? Have you found it to be an advantage, a disadvantage? Have you faced any obstacles? What has your experience been?
Yeah, so I would say, in Italy, they are very, very racist compared to the UK. Like, there is a lot of racism. So when I came to the UK and I saw, for example, black people driving buses, Asian people working in banks, black people working in banks, I was like, wow, like, what is going on? This is crazy. I remember texting my mom and I'm like, wow, down here, you know, black people are doing this, are doing that. For me, was a crazy opportunity to go, you know, to do as much as I can. So that was a lot of opportunity for me when I saw that. But then, as I was going forward with, you know, with life here and being an entrepreneur as well, I actually realized that although is much more in terms of culture advanced compared to Italy, um, there were still those things, those barriers for black people. Like, in some way, you are still being seen as a black person. The opportunity is still like, black people. We have to always work harder for certain things. Even though where I came from, I'm in a much better position, you still have to fight in those, you know, in that place. And I think that is one thing that, you know, is changing slowly as well. But again, you know, I remember with the death of George Floyd, there was so many promises, you know, businesses were giving a, you know, opportunity to black people here and there. And then I just feel like right now everything is just slow down. And I keep on
Yeah.
asking, if you know, even talking with when I speak to organizations who are helping black people, I keep on asking them the question: do you guys think that, you know, you are doing what you really said? Like, is that impact for the black community still there? Do you still have that drive to make that change? Because right now it looks like it was almost like a box to tick. Oh yeah, we helped a black person, and that's it. Meanwhile, I don't want to just be seen as a black business. I want to be seen as a business. So I don't want anybody to put a symbol on me as black business or as this, or that. I know that as
Yeah.
a black business, there is the opportunity for me in terms of, you know, getting help. But I don't want to be seen as just a black business. I'm a business, you know what I mean? So that is the thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely understand. You know, I think it's so interesting because I can really relate to you. When I lived in the UK, I'm still a journalist, but I was a journalist there as well. I worked at ITV News, and I remember always being asked to work on like black stories, you know, and I was had the same thing as you. Like, of course, yeah, I will do that, but I don't want to be like pigeonholed into a box when it's only if there's a story
Exactly.
concerning black people that you'll want me to go and cover it. I want to cover all types of stories and meet all types of, you know, different people and tell different types of stories. So yeah, I think it's like a fine line that you know, is
Yeah,
something that
yeah.
is improving, like you said, but
hmm
there
hmm
is still so much more work to be done
Yeah,
in that
yeah,
area.
100%.
So
Like, we are not, I don't know, I just don't, you know, we are not just, again, a box to take us. Oh, yeah, we have the black
box
person
to
here.
tick,
So,
yeah.
you know, let's get her to do things for just her community or stuff. At the end of the day, you study all your life or you work so hard to be a journalist that will be exploring different topics, not just really and also in the food industry, same thing. Sometimes you speak with the buyer, and I remember at some point, me and my business partner were not even showing ourselves as the founders of the company. I think we did this for about 2, 3 years,
Wow.
and yeah, people didn't know we were the founders. And sometimes some people would meet us and like, "Oh wow, I didn't know black people were behind this." I'm see, like you wouldn't imagine that a black person own a snack business, like you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
I felt that is pretty bad. So
That's crazy. And how did you like when people did not know that you were behind the business? 'Cause I know a lot of other Black entrepreneurs, especially people who run more like online enterprises, don't come out and show themselves just because they don't really want to risk it. You know what I mean? So how did you feel people reacted when you were like, "Oh, we are the owners and we are the face of the business," and all of that? What kind of response overall do you feel you got? Was it more positive or was it mixed?
I think definitely we came out when all the crazy stuff was going on with the Black Lives Matter and things like that. So it was the right time for us to come out. And at the end of the day, not that people didn't know us, but at the same time, I would say most people didn't know it was us behind Gusu Snacks. But I think overall, at that point, it was good because we were in a place whereby we can prove ourselves as black founders to be able to do what we are saying we are doing, really.
Yeah.
So obviously we have already done our testings, our mistakes, and where we were in a very good place. So I think that is what really got us, a positive feedback. I don't know, for some reason, I feel like black founders, we are connected to some sort of like failure or some sort of like that we can do certain things, but at the same time we've proven that we can do it. So
Yeah. No, we definitely can. I think there's so many amazing founders, of color,
exactly.
black, Asian, and doing such great things and really breaking that stereotype that maybe black people are only found in certain industries, maybe like hair or beauty, or
100%.
do you know what I mean? Like we can do anything our minds can conceive of. So thank you so much for being one of those inspirations for us in our modern day that we can look to and that we can admire. So now I want to talk a bit about getting Gusto Snacks out there in terms of marketing, in terms of visibility, because I feel like you've been able to leverage LinkedIn so well. You've been able to leverage TikTok, even though you've only got one TikTok video. That TikTok video is like such a great TikTok video. Like it's saved. It's in my saved folder because I go there and I look at it as like an example of great
Exactly.
marketing. So what has been your strategy? Did you have a marketing consultant? Did you guys do it in-house? How were you able to grow how have you been able to grow the visibility of Gusto
Yeah.
Snacks?
So I would say that being a startup, you don't have that many funds initially. So you have to really, be tight with all the money you have and use the money for the most important stuff. Not that marketing is not important, but again, you have production, you have this, you have that. Without production, we will not have product. So initially, most of our
Yes.
funds went towards production. Marketing, I have a background in product design, as I've already said, so I tend to learn everything that is to do with products, graphics, and video editing, and also marketing. So I learn most of the things myself, and I try to be as much creative as I can, using less as well. So note the marketing we did that blew up first on LinkedIn, and then I posted it on TikTok. It reached over 70,000 people, and in terms of likes
Wow.
on LinkedIn, and we spent about £2 for those cardboards that we lifted. So
Okay, so let's tell people watching or listening what you did, just so they can understand. So you got some huge cardboards, like
yeah,
like normal brown cardboard, and
exactly.
then what did you do?
So basically, we got. So initially, we were launching our products in Selfridges. So I was thinking, what can we do to get attention, because hey, the money that we have here, we can't just go and pay for a billboard. And on top of that, if you pay for a billboard, you don't really get traction unless you do other stuff with the billboard. So sometimes people think, oh, let me go and pay for a massive billboard outside for 1 week, and then I'm going getting sales. It really doesn't work like that. You may pay for 30,000 billboard, really nothing will happen. So I said, what
Nothing.
can
Yeah.
we do? Exactly, what can we do that we can get people attention and also drive sales? So I thought about, okay, let's just get some cardboards and write something like our marketing budget is low as the calories in our snacks. Buy our snacks so we can do better marketing. And that is what we had on the cardboard. And people, when we went outside in Selfridges, initially we were a bit shy, because just standing, there was a lot of people out there, and I think it's in Selfridges, like in Oxford Street, really.
Off the
um
street. Okay.
exactly, a lot of people. So we left the cardboard and we started seeing people just really looking at us, and people just listen, starting to make videos. And we said, actually, this seems like is something that would be crazy, and we posted a picture on LinkedIn, and that is when, boom, the thing just went crazy. People were sharing. They loved the fact that we didn't have marketing budget, but then we used that, as a way for our marketing to really, to do marketing. So all those suffrages was not that happy. We got a little warning. From Selfridges telling us to, hey, why are you lifting cardboard in front of our building, something like that. But it was very good. It was very good. I think it was, and since then we've been trying to do things that way. And because we understood that being an entrepreneur, you have to really be able to keep using your money as little as possible, and then get more results from it, really. Yeah.
Yeah, I really think that is great, because I think sometimes when you think of marketing, you just think of the conventional ways, such as Facebook ads, Instagram ads, TikTok or things like that. And I think what you did is just a great example of like content marketing. Essentially, you took what you have and you didn't spend a lot of money, because some people will be thinking, okay, how do we, maybe we borrow £30,000 and we're in debt, and then we do the billboard, we see if it works. If it doesn't work, now we have debt, but then you think of something
Exactly.
else, whereas you just thought, no, I'm not going to put my company under that pressure. You and your co-founder, and you guys sort of thought outside of the box, which I think is really, really brilliant. And I feel like, yeah, other entrepreneurs could definitely, even though you got the scolding from Selfridges, I feel like the scolding was worth the result. So
100%. And at some point they started sharing it themselves as well. After they gave us the warning, they saw that the thing was blowing up, and they just started sharing it themselves as well. So I'm like, whatever.
well worth it. Well worth it. Oh,
Yeah.
that's fantastic. And so since then, what other marketing initiatives have you guys been doing? Because I know that you're stopped at Selfridges, and I think you're stopped at WH Smith. Is that right?
Yeah. Yeah.
WH Smith in the UK. So yeah. So first, so let's talk about that actually. How were you able to get distribution? Because I know distribution can be a struggle for people in the sort of snacks and the drinks industry. How were you able to make those connections with such big and such popular
Yeah.
retailers?
So basically, every store has a buyer. So sometimes I hear some people telling me, "Hey, I send an email to Selfridges, to their, I don't know, sales team, and I didn't get any response back." Well, it doesn't really work like that. The main thing is that there is a specific person that deals with every product, every single product you see out there, actually every category in the shops, whether it's biscuits, sweets, drinks. There is a buyer for that specific section. So if you don't find that specific buyer, you are just wasting your time. You're just sending emails, and nobody's reading them, really. So that is what we did. We got in touch with those specific buyers in every section of the of our category, which is crepes, really, fruit crepes or dried fruits. And normally you have to be very, very consistent with you don't have to keep contacting them, because one email doesn't do it. Imagine you are sending an email, there's other 10,000 or I don't know more brands that are also pitching their product to the buyer. So it's a competition. So normally, obviously, if you have a good deck, you have a good presentation, your product fits perfectly, what they are looking for, then they will come back to you. But for example, Selfridges, we spent about 1 year to be able to get into Selfridges.
Wow.
Yeah, exactly. And even that, they came back saying you don't have enough products. And thank God at that time we were just developing 2 extra products. And it was just the right time to tell them, hey, we have these 2 products coming in. And then they accepted us once we got those products in. So it's a very long process. But if you are consistent with keep emailing, them every week. My business partner is the one that deals with the sales, so he does automated campaigns, continuously keep getting into their emails, and then that is how we really get in distribution. Another thing too is that apart from getting into the retail, you have to have, so there is retail and distributors. So the distributors are the ones that take your products and sell it to the retailers. For example, going to Selfridges, we don't sell directly to Selfridges. We sell to our distributor, and our distributor sells to Selfridges. So that is how is
Okay.
it exactly. The margins are a bit tight, but at the same time, it's much more easier for us to deal with this, distributing our products around. Really, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm glad they were happy with it in the end, and they started pushing it themselves, so Selfridges. So it goes to show you, everyone loves a success story.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, let's talk about funding a little bit now, because I know that's another aspect that many entrepreneurs do struggle with. A lot of people start off bootstrapping their businesses, and it gets to a certain point where they run out of funds, and then they find it difficult to continue. So how I know that you raised funds. I hope you don't
Yeah,
mind me.
yeah,
Can I? I'm allowed to mention. Good.
yeah.
Um, so how are you guys able to do that? And did it come like at what point? At what stage of the business did you decide, okay, now it's time for us to go and get external funds?
All right. So we bootstrapped for about 4 years. Initially through campaigns, we raised about 70,000 in totals through grants and a loan as well. So obviously we chip in our own money and things like that. So what we did is that the main thing why we did that, because initially nobody would really believe that what you are doing. Initially you have to prove yourself, so the best way to do that, or you ask family for some cash to help you out, or you apply. I mean, in the UK there is a lot of competitions in terms of entrepreneur competition, and hope, thank God we won some of them. So we got some money that we don't have to really pay back, and then we injected in the business, as I say, some loans, and that helped us hit those targets in terms of our market fit, market test, understanding, our pricing. Those things comes with mistakes as well. So if you make the mistakes with your own money, then the investors do understand that you have already done the dirty work, and now it's time to really grow the business. And that is what they like. They want to put their money into a business that is in a good place, even though we are not making a profit at the moment because we're still very young. Our market fit, or market validation phase was very important for us to get to where we are at the moment, which obviously we have raised funds. So after the 4 years of really being in the market testing, and once we were done with that and knowing exactly what we want to do with these products, we then created a pitch deck, talking about where we are and the vision of the company, with cost and whatever is involved. And then we started approaching investors. So investors, we approached them through LinkedIn. So cold emails, messages through LinkedIn, straight up. And then there was also another investor, which I'm not unfortunately allowed to say a name. um, we met her actually through a program that connects you with high profile CEOs and of big companies, and she was speaking with us for over 2 years. before she actually
Wow.
invested. Yeah, so she was following the journey. That's why sometimes they say build your relationship with the investors doesn't have to be transactional. Build a very genuine relationship, because initially if you just go and ask for money initially to people, they may just feel like, okay, this person just came for money. Why should I give money? Would you ever give money to someone you don't know? I wouldn't do that. So,
Probably not. Yeah.
exactly. So we build that relationship with the person, and we never ask her for investment or anything until we go to the point where we were really, we had all the data and stuff like that. Because she's been following us, she was very, even then she had some, you know, some boxes that she wanted us to tick for her to be able to put her money. But after that, at some point, we had the VC coming in. So note we are raising about 250,000, and we still haven't finished our round, but we have raised a big portion of that, which is about 170,000 so far. And with an angel and a VC, the VC puts most of the money, and the angel puts, a portion of it. So it's good to have a balance at the end of the day. Some VCs and some angels. VCs normally you will almost not get them, because I mean we are very lucky to have, I guess our prayers are working. And because the VC came on board. Normally VCs would love to see, they are much more strict with their money. Angels are a bit more, they are much more, I would say, easy to deal with. But yeah, so indeed, working, as I said, initially bootstrapping is the best way to go forward, and then use that bootstrap period, whether it's 1 year or 2 years, to really validate the product, learn everything, do the mistakes as much as you can, and learn faster in order to be able to, get to that point whereby if they ask you
Yeah.
anything, you'll be able to answer it really. Yeah.
Fantastic. And I'm so intrigued by your LinkedIn cold emailing the investors. I want to know, like, what did you say? Like, how did you structure the email? Was it a short, not email, sorry, LinkedIn message? Was it short? Was it long? Like, what did you include in there to sort of get their attention?
I would say, so first of all, let me say this. When you are emailing investors, don't just think about, oh, I'm going to email 10 investors and boom, I'm getting it. We emailed like over 2,000 people. Like we
Wow.
send messages crazy, like to over 2,000. That is the database we had at the moment. And imagine of that 2,000 people with connections here and there, we have a VC and an angel. And we haven't even finished our round. We still have 80,000 to finish. So you can imagine it's a hard work and full-time job. We use over a year. I would say the best thing to do on LinkedIn is there is something called LinkedIn Sales Navigator, and which is built in LinkedIn as well, and you can use that to filter. Let's say if you write investors on sales, LinkedIn Sales Navigator, it will bring you a list of investors, because people generally will put in their description investor in
Yeah.
whatever, investor in this, investor in that. So that is how we were approaching, investors in that way, and sending them the sort of email we were sending them, very short email, quick description, and just saying, sometimes you can attach your deck straight up, or you can just really have a, summarize your business very short. Hey, hello, I'm this and that. I'm the founder of this company, and we are raising this and that. Would you like to know more about it? I've attached my deck to this. And then you keep going. Normally, if they are not interested, they will tell you straight away, hey, this is not for me. Or if they are interested,
Mm.
they'll come back to you. At times, you just have to keep going back to them. Hey, I send you this email. Do you mind jumping on a quick call to explain a bit? Or maybe sometimes you can even say, you know, I just want your feedback. If you are kind to give me your feedback on what I've shared with you, and then from there you can hook up the conversation once you jump on a call, really, So
Yeah. Yeah.
one last thing also is always feel free to ask them if they are not interested. Feel free to ask them if they have three people they can introduce you to, because we had different times whereby investors would just introduce us to other people, and those people will introduce us to others, and that is how the conversation keeps going. So yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. I feel like these are things that you don't hear anywhere else.
Exactly.
And people obviously, sometimes want to approach investors, but they're really timid because they don't know how or how to structure the messages. And, you don't want to, there's this impression of like investors are so busy, you don't want to just go into their inbox and be talking nonsense. So I think the tips you've outlined are really, really,
That's
really, really good, really, really spot on for anyone who's looking to raise funding for their business by, cold emailing investors
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, which is obviously like a really powerful networking tool. Awesome. So let's talk about like the three main tips. If you were to distill all your years of experience and knowledge, being an entrepreneur, what are sort of the three main tips you'd give someone watching who has a business, who's trying to grow and scale, who's maybe not at the stage you're at now, just maybe trying to validate, test, and needs a bit of encouragement? What would you tell them?
Yeah, so number one, I would say build a community around you first of all. I would say try and get into that space whereby there is other entrepreneurs similar to you. That I've been in the journey. Even people that are doing other businesses, it's very good to have connections. It's very good to have that networking experience whereby people you've and one thing is also good for the mental health, because sometimes as entrepreneurs we think we are in this thing alone, but then you realize that there is so many entrepreneurs out there that are going through the same thing, and probably they are even ahead of time, and they can give you a lot of advice on how to deal with things, how to deal with your personal life, or how to deal with certain situations that they have already gone through. So I would say first, community networking. Two, I would say prepare your mindset for that journey. Being an entrepreneur is not just, it's not an easy job. If not, everybody would just be an entrepreneur. Is a roller coaster. Is hard. You know, get let's say get people around you that can support you in terms of, and now I'm talking about mental health right now, and your the way, because it's a tough space to be, and I'm not saying that because I'm just like, oh, it's difficult, but hey, there is successful people out there. But when you speak with every successful person, they will tell you that we all have something in common, which is failure. We have all of us have failed before, and failing is not easy to accept. It's not an easy thing. So one thing I will always say is prepare your mindsets, prepare the journey, because whatever also you prepare may not turn out to be what you are thinking, but at the same time toughen that mindset of, okay, I may meet difficulties, but at the same time I'm able to go through this and bounce back if I fail. And as I said before in the interview, a good thing is always learning from your mistakes. So mistakes are gonna happen, but always learn from them and build from them. And I think, what would be the last thing that I would give in terms of advice? All right, yeah. Learn different skills. Don't just settle for one thing. Um, Me being a product designer, I didn't just settle on being on products, on designing products and things like that, but I learned the marketing piece of the business. So we don't really need that much of a help. Although, because I'm the CEO, there is a lot of things that I have to handle right now. But at the same time, being a marketer has helped a lot in terms of, not spending money into, agencies or things like that, because agencies are very
Yeah.
expensive. So I would say the last thing I'll give us advice is try and, expand your skills, learn something that will be very valuable for the business, that will take the business into a certain place, and then from there you can assess, whether you want to go to an agency. When you have the money, you can then do whatever you want to do. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, fantastic. Giuseppe, thank you so much for sharing those nuggets of wisdom. I love the fact that like you're really sort of into, starting and growing in a way that's sustainable
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to
Mm-hmm.
trying to take on so much, like you said, paying
100%.
agencies,
Uh-huh.
paying for digital marketing, paying for all these different things when maybe the business isn't at the point where it's able to take on those expenses, which I think
Yeah,
is the trap that a lot of entrepreneurs fall into because they feel pressured as if it's something
indeed.
they have to do. But your mindset is, I love it more. Like you said, learn skills, try and learn to
Exactly.
do things yourself, or barters or favors and things like that in order to grow. Now, before I let you go, I know you have another business called Tap Out, which I don't know a lot about. I've just seen it on your LinkedIn, your Instagram. So I wanted to also talk to you about Tap Out,
Yeah.
and just a little bit about what it's about and how you're
Mhm.
sort of juggling working on both Gusto Snacks and Tap Out.
So at the moment, I would say Tap Out is a very side work. At the moment, there isn't much going on at the moment with it. It was more of like to do with that was a I would say my wife is the one that takes care more of that at the moment. But is basically the idea of getting people to spend less time on their phone, to connect more with people outside and get rewarded for it, really. So, with Tap Out, the idea is that imagine going to a restaurant and then you can scan while you're sitting there and having a dinner with someone, you scan our barcode and then your phone gets locked for a certain period, and then through that period you have to stay in reality really, and be able to talk. And it's just a way to get people to stay less on their phone, because there is a lot of
On our
mental
phones.
health
Okay.
stuff exactly going with it. So I would say the idea for that, I mean, I feel like it was very good because Samsung also approached us at some point, as they were very interested. They were working on something very similar and they were interested. So that is how things started going, and we started. But there is a long journey still for it to go ahead because of product development. Tech takes time, so there is a lot of
Yeah.
work being done in the background. But yeah, that is essentially what is Tap Out.
I think that's essential for a lot of people. I think especially like, these days the phone addiction is a really crazy thing. You obviously don't sometimes you don't even realize how addicted you are to your phone. But you just find yourself reaching for it and you're like, why am I like I don't need to be reaching for my phone right now. I'm meant to be either
Exactly,
like,
exactly.
having a conversation with somebody or doing something important. So I love your mission with Tap Out. I think it's, as we get more sort of aware of the impact that our phones and social media and
Exactly.
all that's having on us, on our brains, on our
Uh-huh,
thought
uh-huh, uh-huh.
patterns, I think people are going to really sort of lean or want to lean into solutions
Yeah, yeah.
like the one that you're
Uh-huh,
building
uh-huh.
with Tap Out. So definitely keeping our eyes peeled for that. And last but not least, I want to ask you about work-life balance, because I know that when you are a passionate entrepreneur and you're growing a venture, it can be all-consuming and it can be very hard to make time. Like, you mentioned like mental health and entrepreneurs. I think that's
Yeah.
a really big topic that hasn't been touched on so much. So how have you been able to just sort of make sure you are also enjoying life outside of business and entrepreneurship?
I think life balance is difficult to have because definitely you have to find a way to spend time with family. You have to definitely find way to have time for yourself as well. I mean, being an entrepreneur is no easy to do that. I'm gonna be honest, because obviously, as a startup, you are the CEO, you are the marketer, you are, product development, you are customer service, you are really everything. And when you raise funding as well, that is when it's almost like, okay, I've taken someone money right now. There is more work to do now. Like I can't just be You know, if before I didn't have time, now I don't have time at all. But I would say one thing that, you know, I always try and do, and my business partner as well, is to take our mental health and our health very seriously. Sometimes it's okay to just close your computer and spend time with family. That's okay. That is part of being an entrepreneur. If you burn out, you are not gonna get to where you want to be. You know what I mean? It's sad if you get sick or anything because you are going crazy because I want to be, you know, the next Bill Gates, and then, you know, you are not having any sleep, you are not having any contact with, you know,
It's not
friends
good.
or
Yeah.
people. Exactly. What's the point of, at the end of the day, you want to be able to be successful in order to enjoy what you have built. So health is part of that ecosystem, you know. So that is definitely one thing that we take seriously. And if you want time off, take it. Like, you know, as far as, you know, we hit our goals and we're able to do what we said we want to do, taking time is also part of, you know, the journey, really.
Yeah, yeah. Giuseppe, thank you so much for saying that. I feel like you've given so many people the permission to just take a breather, like you said, close the laptop screen and just, take some time for yourself, get some fresh air, go for a walk,
Hey,
spend time with
people,
family.
people, people shouldn't use this as an excuse for laziness, though.
No, no, not at all, not at all, not at all. But at least, it's just good, hearing that from someone
100%.
who's successful. I think there's so much like hustle culture is so all encompassing, and that's all you
It
get, like
is,
hustle,
yeah.
hustle, hustle, hustle. You know, sleep at midnight, wake up at 4 a.m., go to the gym, turn on your laptop, da 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 da, da, like only eat these kind of meals, and it's so intense. And I think that people just need sometimes just
Exactly.
permission to
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
take a breather. If you need to sleep 8 hours,
Yeah.
sleep 8 hours.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But at the
I
end of the
think,
day, being healthy is part. I mean, being you is being healthy. If you are not healthy, how are you able to do all of these things? So, you know, that
to
needs to
do all
be
your things
part of,
exactly.
exactly, it has to be part of your plan. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fantastic. Well, Giuseppe, thank you so much for making time to come on this Narrative Labs podcast. I've been, asking you, and then we made it happen. This is the first one, and I'm really, really honored that this conversation was with you because I love your energy, I love your authenticity, and I really, really love what you're doing. And I know that your company, is going to get bigger and bigger. One day you're going to be the billionaire, and I'm going to say,
I
you
hope, I
know,
hope.
in the
Amen to
early
that.
days,
Amen to that.
in the early days, I witnessed the growth. So happy to see what you're doing, and just wishing you more and more and more success.
Indeed. I
Thank you so
mean, thank
much.
you so much for inviting me. I really enjoyed the conversation, and I hope, you know, someone out there will definitely take some notes and, you know, get inspired indeed.
I'm sure they will. Thank you.